Welcome, Mark, back to the show. We're so excited to have you again. This is your second time on the podcast, and we're just so excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. This is amazing. I love being part of this. It's an amazing community, and it's just so fun being here.
Yeah, and I know a lot has changed since you were on the podcast last. You've become an HPH health coach. I know you're already an IHP and have gone through all the IHP programs, but you're now an HPH. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you back on the show is because you own a personal training studio, and you have for a while. And because you have dived deeper into the high performance health side of things and real health optimization, you've started to bring in not just integrative health, testing, detoxes, but you've also started to bring in a lot of healing technology. And what I wanted to bring to this audience is just how much it's kind of opening the minds of your clients and allowing you to serve them more. So that's one of the reasons I would love to talk to you today. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about why and how things have shifted for you since completing your HPH certification.
Yeah, I always love doing more and more, learning more, and bringing that to my clients. So whenever I'm not doing that, I'm always looking for the next thing. So HPH was that. I loved all the content in it, the idea of it. What could I take from it to bring to clients that I've been doing this stuff with for 15 years? And, that's what I love about this profession and this career. It's if you are focused on serving, you get to find new ways and you get to learn new things. And it's this beautiful process and coaching that happens through that. So with HPH, I saw, first thing that I loved was the biological aging test, right? Where I'm like, I can't wait to do that test. Mine's going to be amazing. And I did mine and found out, I did this little experiment of not sleeping well. I was like, I'm not going to, worry about so much sleep. I need to do my morning routine, whatever. And I had early morning clients, and then I did my biological age test. And the funny thing was it came back that I was older than what my chronological age was. So I was just laughing about it. But that's why it's so important to have this type of testing. So that was one part of what I wanted to bring to my clients. And going through the certification, I was looking at the other elements too, where a lot of my clients, have had family histories of heart issues, and looking into like the clearly the artery AI scan that you can do was another reason I thought, this is so great to learn this stuff. But also it's just, again, taking things to another level where it's not trying to bypass Western-based practices, and say Eastern-based practices are better, but it's just coming to more information so that we can all be better advocates for ourselves. And so for me, again, when I do like an HPH or an IHP, that's what I'm talking about. As a personal trainer, you go, well, okay, cool. I know about exercise and activity and mobility and stretching and nutrition, and I'll get all these different certifications. And then you kind of go, okay, what's next? I guess I'll just be a trainer for the rest of my life. Cool. Yeah, that's great. And just keep talking about the same stuff and never learning anything new. But we know from this, the Western-based practices that we've been so familiar with over these decades upon decades now of, learning some great science and things going on with cancer and all these different areas. But we kind of get stuck in our ways or set in our ways and think, okay, well, now I'm at this job. I don't need to keep progressing. And, for us integrative health practitioners and now HPH, it's like we're taking that to the next level and always looking for the best ways forward for our clients. And I love that because it just allows me to always coach at a level that no one's ever seen. The people we're working with as IHPs and HPHs, it's crazy. No one's giving them this kind of intel about their bodies and insight about their bodies, and it shows up time and time again for me. Just going through my own health processes and doing it with clients. And, I just had a client who the standard, you need to get on high blood pressure medication. And we talked through it. And I didn't say anything against what his doctor said or anything. I said, I think you need to go back to your doctor and have another conversation because you're a fit person who is dealing with a lot of life stressors that they didn't ask you about when you did that, when you took your blood pressure. So I think that's my long-winded way of saying I love the HPH, IHP process and that whole thinking, coming from that approach, where it's such an amazing holistic approach that you're finding into people's individuality, the bio individuality, the way to biohack, the way to look at these health and wellness practices in a way that the health practitioner, has never looked at it before. But also then the most empowering thing is seeing your client and the people you're serving and the knowledge they gain from it.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned serving, because that's, I think, why we're all here. We're all here to help people. We're all here because either we had our own story or someone else we're close to who went just the Western medicine route. And we want to kind of open their mind and show them a new perspective and way of looking at things. And I'm so glad you brought up the blood pressure medication example, because you're right. Like, they didn't ask about what they had eaten earlier. They didn't ask if they had eaten white meat chicken, which is the highest salt food there is. They didn't ask if they were stressed. They didn't ask if they just had this massive thing happen in their jobs, and they just tried to put them directly on that medication. And the fact you were able to have this conversation with this person to show him that, okay, there's probably something else going on here. And, you shared with me before this that when he was able to kind of look at that and retest himself, his blood pressure was normal without going on the medication. And again, it's being able to have these conversations because, yeah, you've had clients that you've worked with for 10, 15 years, and maybe they started just with the fitness side. But because you have all this knowledge that you've accumulated with these certifications and with testing these things yourself, every time they come to you with a problem, you have some type of tool, some type of new perspective to open their minds to something that they can try. And you've had so many incredible transformations. And I know you're utilizing the Dr. Cabral detox, PEMF therapy, cold plunging, functional testing, not just the biological age test, but, functional testing. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how you see each of these things shifting not only people's health, but also their perspective to the fact that there are things out there that exist that can kind of get them out of their own way.
Yeah, the detox, I mean, gosh, that's my number one thing for every person that walks through the door. It's like a filtering question. Now, how willing are you to take your health and wellness to the next level? And the detox for me is life-changing. I say it to people that I give it to at the, here at the studio and in general, when I'm talking to them about the process of doing the 7 days, I say to them, not only is this going to be amazing for you in 7 days, and you're going to speed up the results you want, you're going to get to the goal faster. And it's not in a way that, yes, I mean, a lot of it is about people seeing quick results with weight loss here at the studio. That's what they want, but it's more about, I say to them, you're cleansing your liver. And that's such an amazing thing because you see all these different things happen. You see your skin get better. You see your inflammation levels go down. You're seeing the pounds drop off literally in days from all those toxins you're removing, but you're learning throughout the 7 days. And then you can gift this to someone, That's my favorite. I remember one year I gave it as a Christmas gift as a Yankee swap. It's like, you were like, what is this? I'm like, it's a liver detox. It's the craziest thing. But I just love it so much because it really is a foundational thing that if nothing else gets done in a person's lifetime, if they do one liver detox with the detox, I love them seeing the results of that and knowing that they're moving forward that much further or that much faster and that much healthier through their life without having those toxins and just everything it reminds them of, saying, look, there's 100,000 man-made toxins. Your liver cannot get rid of all those on its own. It needs help. It needs ways to boost the effects of what it's trying to do, but also to go to other places like fat stores where toxins love to hang out as well. And how do we safely remove them? Well, here's a 7-day process. And better yet, if you want to make it even more, you could do 14 days or you could do 21 days, so you have all these different implementations you can do depending on where you're at, where you're comfortable moving forward and how you're feeling through the process. So detox. Yeah. I love starting people off with that.
Yeah, and it's such a mindset shift as well, right? It's proving to them that they can do something and that they can complete it, and it's so much more than just removing the toxins, right? It's recognizing and being aware of the foods that they were putting in their body and what they were doing was causing them harm. And I know you talk a lot about awareness and how important awareness is. How do you see people coming out of the detox?
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful part about it, I think, too. When you're going through the shake fasting days, you're so present in the moment, especially depending on if it's your first time going through, how toxic you already are. But when you're going through that process of, just doing shakes, you're still getting nutrients and food. It's just in a liquid form for those 2 days. But there's a whole mental game that happens during that transition and process. And it's also a good reminder of this is what it would be like to not have food in our lives, and there are parts of the world, they don't have food. They don't have shakes either. So it's very interesting from that perspective, I think, where you go, okay, cool. Well, I'm going through this process. Some moments are harder than others, but really moment by moment, how can I take it moment by moment and know what's the next thing I can do? Could I have some water with lemon? Could I have some herbal tea with lemon? Could I, have another shake? Could I go for a walk? Could I do something to get my mind off of what's distracting me right now in the present moment, the lack of food or the changing of the routine or the habits that we're so used to? And, then you go to day 3 where you're getting your food back, that first salad that everyone talks about. It's like the best tasting salad you've ever had in your life. A salad, really? Yeah, really. You got to do the detox to understand what it's, right? It's like everyone has that story. It's amazing. But it's so amazing too when you've had so many people doing the detox multiple times. All of my clients, I have them do it 4 times a year, and if they don't, I just make them aware. I say, look, the best thing you can do is do it seasonally because it's giving yourself 4 times a year to cleanse your body and 4 times a year to be awareness, to be at a level of awareness where if you're not into meditation or anything like that, okay, fine. But I guarantee you that week you're on a detox, you're going to be more aware. And at the end of the 7 days, you're just going, man, I just did something so challenging. And maybe you're going to go right back to the things you were doing that weren't so great. So I say, okay, great, fine. But at least you took a week off and you gave your body a resting week to recover, or you keep going with it and you feel even more and more healthy, well, and you get more and more down this approach of health and wellness and not this approach of, well, if I can just do, a diet or do this one detox for one time in my life, yeah, that's better than not doing it. But how can I actually make this a real change and get real habits to form from doing this? So I love the mindset shift that does happen with it because it's like it's unlike any other thing that you've ever done before. And then you're also then aware of, hey, I know if I do this thing for 7 days, if I ever get to a sticky point again where I'm not doing things the way I like to, I'm not feeling as great as I used to. What was that thing I did for 7 days? And I felt, the first 2 days were hard, but like by the 3rd, 4th day, I felt amazing by day 7. And then I ended up doing 14 days. That's what you go back to. So again, just such a great tool and great mindset shift throughout that 7-day process.
Yeah. And I think having that in your toolbox, like you said, if you come back from a vacation where you've been eating horrible things and not exercising and you just feel really toxic, remembering, oh, I did that before, I can do that again. And even if they're not ready to complete the entire detox again, they can still take the diet. They can still take the shake fasting. They can do a 1-day reset. There's so many components to a detox that someone can grab from that experience and work into their daily lives. And again, it's about the awareness and the perspective shift and the pattern interrupt, right? You talk about pattern interrupts a lot and how this type of thing, if you're just going, and maybe you're in a really stressful state, right? And everything's crazy at work or everything's crazy with the kids, utilizing a tool like this to break that pattern, to get you out of binge eating or overeating chocolate. I think a lot of people go through periods where they eat a ton of chocolate out of nowhere, right? It's just like this weird craving that happens. But then you do a detox and all of a sudden that craving's totally gone. right? It helps to break you out of that unhealthy habit. And that's one of the reasons that I love it. And I've supported so many people through it. And it's one of the top tools that I use for all of my clients. And so I think you have detoxes in your office, right? So when you have someone come in and they're telling you, okay, my goal is weight loss, because you're a personal training studio. And I know a lot of people come to you with weight loss as their goal. Is that often one of the first things you recommend?
Yeah, I do. I obviously it's listening to the person. So whatever their goals are, okay, cool, that's your goal. But again, just numbers wise, most people are coming in here because they want to lose weight on some level, whether that's 5 pounds or 50 pounds. So I always say, okay, well, one of the best things we can do for you is set you up for success. And that's by doing a detox. You're going to cleanse your body. You're going to start yourself feeling great within 7 days. So it's not, you're waiting a month for this to kick in. And, the nice thing about being here at the studio is you have a community and a coach to say, hey, all right, I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Like the people I'm taking through this, we go through it. They have text message support, phone calls if they need it. I use an app called Voxer, which is very, it's amazing. It's walkie-talkie, it's the best thing I think you can have between a client and a coach, but because it really allows you to speak on a level where you go, hey, I'm going through this, or I'm feeling this challenge, and you don't feel alone. You always feel supported. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons any health and wellness thing fails, is because people don't feel supported, or people don't feel like anyone cares. Well, this person's just in it to make money or whatever. No, that's not what this is. We're going to give you so much support. You're going to be able to get through this. We've taken so many people through it. It's an amazing journey for you. And we're going to make sure you don't fail. And the beautiful thing about it is this community is, like you just said, people do their own pattern interrupts. Hey, what are you doing this week? Well, I'm doing a modified detox. I'm not doing the pills or anything, but I'm just like doing the capsules, the AUFM detox. They don't want to do that. They're just doing the shake or whatever. They're doing some other. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. All right. We should look at, too, maybe in a couple of weeks, you actually do the real one, the full one. And they're like, yeah, just this week I couldn't because of work. And then I didn't order it. I say, yeah, it's great, but it's their own pattern interrupt. They've learned to do it through, and that's all starting them off as you're talking. Like the first thing, hey, look, this is what I want you starting with, because it's going to get you quick wins. You're going to feel amazing. And it's a safe, healthy way to teach you the first thing about health and wellness when it comes, or this journey, what it comes down to is removing toxicity from your body. And when you do that for your body, you start to see it loses weight immediately because of inflammation that's there, And so is it actual hard pounds of, body fat that you're losing day one? No, you're losing water weight. And why is that happening? Because you're taking the toxins out. But the other parts that people talk about, that we could just stay on here all day, talk about this, Kate, you and I, for sleep. I'm getting such amazing sleep on the detox. I was like, yeah, I know. It's, it's normal. But they're like, oh, but this is amazing. I never sleep this way. I said, I know. Isn't it crazy when your body's not as stressed, what it can do and how much deeper sleep? And I just feel amazing. I have all this energy and, my brain fog. And it's just quite an amazing thing to have people start with. And, again, what I like about it is, I always joke around with people and say, I hope you never need me. I hope that someday, like soon, you fire me. But then they end up staying with me because the joke is like that we're always working on something different. And, I'm always trying to learn myself, just going back to the beginning of this, where we're talking about, IHP and HPH and all that. It's like, I'm always trying to improve myself so I can always bring that new stuff to my clients. And they're always learning too with me, so it's just a great part of the process.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought it back to that, because beyond the detox, you also are introducing other healing tools to your clients. And this is something I want to talk about for our community, because as a health coach, right, as an IHP, as an HPH, as a nutritionist, you want to find additional ways to help people achieve the results they want. And I've used healing technology for nearly 20 years. And one of the things that totally changed my life was PEMF therapy. And I know that you recently, in the last 6 months, have brought that into your facility and have a lot of people using it. Can you share some of the wins and what you've seen with having people use that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so many things. It's been the PEMF mat, it's been the cold plunge, it's been the sauna, all these different areas that bringing into it's the thing I love about it is getting people out of their own way. When it comes to PEMF, people come in, okay, I just want to do some breath work with me today because you seem super stressed. And that's kind of a slap in the face to people. Oh, thanks. So you're saying I look stressed? No. Oh, shoot. But did I really? So then you see that as a coach, you go, all right, geez, I can really tell this person's stressed today. What could we do? And then you have something like the PEMF mat where I just go, hey, look, I have this new mat that I want you, and you seem super, like today might have been, maybe a tough day. It's all about, I love tone. I always like try to act that, okay, this person seems stressed today, but remember, you can't just come right out and say it. I mean, you can, but it could. So I changed the tone. I'm like, yeah, you seem a little stressed today. I have this great mat. How about we go lay on it? And they're like, why would I lay on a mat? I said, well, this mat is going to shoot you full of frequencies that are just going to make you feel amazing, and it's got infrared, red light, all this stuff. And they're like, okay, fine. They believe, yeah, all right. They trust you. So they go lay on the mat. And I said, we're just going to do 10 minutes, 10 minutes, just lay on this mat. That's all you have to do. Turn the heat on. But I usually do about 10 hertz. It's the third setting on the mat, on the PEMF mat, the Therasage one I have. And so then they're laying on the mat and we're just talking about their day. Excuse me. And we're just saying like, hey, what happened during your day that was stressful and all this. And, as you can start to see the body language as they're on the mat, they're starting to get calmer. This feels nice. Oh, the heat feels really good. Yeah. Yeah. What is this supposed to do again? I was like, I don't know. What do you feel? You tell me. What is it doing for you? Like, I just feel calm. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing it's supposed to do. But I don't want to tell you that. I want you to give me the feedback, So it's, again, helping people to get out of their own way because they don't want to sit here and do a 20-minute meditation. They don't want to sit here and do breath work oftentimes. Or, a lot of people have the mindset of personal training is just coming in and pounding through your session, getting it done and get out the door. That's all it is. Got my session in. And then, it goes back to, is that really what's best for that person coming in, right? Is it better to just get them working out and not focusing on nutrition and doing a detox and all? Or is it better to have them start with a detox? Better to have them get on a PEMF mat and immediately lower their stress. And then we can get into a workout where they're not super tense, where if they're super tense, they could injure themselves, or maybe they don't even do a workout. They just lay on the mat. So that's one area of it where I love having devices that do that, where it's, look, you can try to fight it as much as you want to. Lay on the PEMF mat. I turn the lights off for them. Feel the heat, feel those frequencies, and tell me what you feel. I feel calmer. I feel amazing. And, to go off on a tangent here, but like cold plunge, same thing. If you can't get out of your own head and okay, listen to me. This pool right here is 48 degrees. You're going to stay in here for 90 seconds. The most important thing you're going to do for 90 seconds is breathe. And breathe in the way that I'm going to teach you so that you can sit in this for 90 seconds because it is 48 degrees or 47 or 46, whatever it is. But you're not going to get into this tub without doing something, or something's going to happen to your body that you can't control. And if you're doing the breath work, you're going to feel this release of energy and you're going to feel amazing, after in terms of endorphins and all this great stuff. But then, we also have the sauna. So then you go into the sauna and you're sweating it out. But then when I started to notice with people with this infrared sauna too, which I have the Therasage, the portable one, which is great because I take it to people's homes and all kinds of things. But then people aren't sweating. So I'm noticing, okay, well, if you're not sweating, that's cool. How long? It's been 10 minutes. Okay. Why aren't you sweating? Now you're sweating within the first 3 minutes. This is amazing, right? These are the types of things where, again, it's just teaching people because everyone tells me the same thing. Oh, I don't need to sweat. I've never sweat my whole life. And I'm saying, yes, I know. And that's cute that you think that's like a badge of honor. It's a pride. Oh, I don't sweat. I'm like, okay, great. Well, that's just horrible for you. So let's get you sweating. And so these are the tools that I love because they allow people to do these things without really having to do too much. And the PEMF, I would say, it sounds like such a simplistic thing to have, and such a simplistic technology that really wouldn't be that big of a benefit. But I think it is the biggest game changer in terms of stress that you can have, is to be able to go home and go, today was just an crazy, insane day. I cannot believe how stressed I am right now. Plug this mat in, lay on it, and go, I feel amazing. What happened? So I love adding these tools in for our community.
Yeah, the PEMF, you're so right. I mean, I've been using it 3 to 4 times a week for 18 years, and I've used a couple different versions. I now use the TheraPro as well, just because it has so many built-in pieces of technology, the red light, the jade stones, all those different things, and it is so calming. It is so relaxing. And I've noticed so many improvements. And one of the things I know you like to do as well is stack your technology, stack your healing, right? Like you mentioned, people, now you have a hydrogen water machine and people come in and you just hand them hydrogen water because like if they're not sweating, there's a lot of dehydration happening there. There might be some issues with their detoxification pathways. And the fact that within, 10, 20 minutes or whatever they're doing, they start to sweat, that says a lot about kind of what they're missing. And that again allows them to build awareness to say, oh, maybe I do need to focus a little bit more on this and not just focus on the personal training, because you're right. Personal training and working out really hard isn't going to be the best thing for everyone every day. If they're coming in twice a week, 3 times a week, and, they're in a spot where that could actually kind of move them backward. And you have these tools available that can make them feel good and open up different layers of things. I think it's all just so powerful when you have all these tools available to you. And even if they all just use each of them once, right? They're going to show themselves, okay, this is a new way of approaching feeling good, right? This is a new way of looking at my body and my health, because like we talked about, a lot of these people are coming to you, at least to begin with, for weight loss or for accountability, right? And if you are able to open their minds to this, maybe that means they're going to go home and start eating healthier too, because they all of a sudden realize the PEMF, this thing that I would have never even considered as me, helping me, just opened my mind, reduced my anxiety in 10 minutes that I've been struggling with for years, right? I wonder what eating healthy would do. I wonder what, meditating would do. It's opening their mind to more integrative health. And I think that's such a powerful thing, because like you said, you're always trying to do things for help yourself, and always learning and always seeing kind of what's new. And that's what I love about the IHP community and the HPH is like, you're constantly learning and evolving, and being able to bring that back to your clients, to be able to serve your clients more, and recognizing that every single person needs something different. We're all individuals, right? And what tool is going to help that person the most? And then allowing them to open their mind to it, to then be open-minded to other things. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, me too. I love it. And, again, I think it just touches upon when you're talking about these different things with hydration too, is, getting into the sauna. That's how I realized it. I was drinking the water myself and going, man, I'm sweating so much faster already, because I put it into practice for myself. Yeah, I love the tools. And like you said too, it's amazing to use the different tools for different people. And that's where it's detox sometimes. It's sauna sometimes, it's the PEMF mat, it leads to other questions as health coaches too, where, that process with the PEMF mat, I had somebody on it and I go, all right, well, if I know that helped to calm him, then I know he's very stressed throughout his day. What else does he need to do? And sometimes it's moving backwards. I wanted him to do lab testing. He didn't want to do lab testing. I said, fine, don't do lab testing. What else can we get you to do though? Why don't you try taking this calming magnesium at night and see what happens, right? And so he starts taking the calming magnesium, changed my life. I slept so much better, And so again, then you get to coach. It's like, now he's open to doing lab testing, I said, okay, cool. I mean, again, there's so many different ways to approach this and so many different tools. And that's what I love about, that's what I think is so unique about IHP and HPH. It's like giving tools that no one else has. And thought processes that no one else has. Like mastery is like that, right? It's in HPH in certain ways too, right? It's like you're giving insights and coaching that no one else has, because you've done these other levels and you're moving through this system. And then you're able to go, okay, right. So here's interesting. Like, this is how this person's approaching this. This is how they think this way. What is this person actually trying to say? And how can I use the tools that I've acquired in the community too? Because you're right. It's like such an amazing community where everyone can reach out to each other and talk to each other and say, hey, I have this going on, or, I'm curious, does anyone know about this? So I love it. It's amazing. It's
Yeah. And you talk about like tools in your toolbox, right? And, everyone has a unique set of tools. Everyone, you've got the personal training, a lifetime of it. You've got the mindset, you've got life fulfillment, you've got all these biohacking style tools, you've got detoxing, you got supplements, right? And everyone can be opened, or their mind can be opened by something different. Like you mentioned, the healing magnesium changed that, or the calming magnesium changed that guy's life, right? The detox changes someone else's life. The PEMF, right? They're all like entry points to get people to think a different way and be more open-minded towards some of the other things. So for health coaches, you've got people coming to you about, sleep issues or wanting more energy, or, chronic anxiety or gut issues. And if you have more of these tools in your toolbox and you can understand how each of them impacts the body and how certain people are going to be more open-minded to trying certain things, then you're going to be more successful in turning that person into a client potentially and helping them in a bigger way, because some people are just going to be very closed-minded toward cold plunging because they've seen too many social media posts about it, right? Yeah. It's, there are different things that people are just not going to be willing to try, or they're not ready to invest in testing. And so what is an entry point that is going to be doable for them, right? And then once they try that and it gives them a win and they see some improvements, then they might be willing to take additional steps with you. And so I always look at the detox, and I train on this, and the detox mastery program that I taught inside IHP is that the detox is such a powerful way to give someone a big win, right? And we talked about this at the beginning, is like you give them a huge win with whatever their symptoms are, but also the mindset and the shift part of it, and giving them this tool they can use for the rest of their lives. But all these other tools we just talked about can do something similar. And so it's just recognizing and listening to your clients and the people who are coming to you, whether it's a new client, whether it's someone you've been working with for years, is really just listening. What do they need? What are they willing to try? And adapting as you go. But that's how you're going to be able to serve them the most. And having these additional tools that can be life-changing is going to help in a big way with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Kate. And, the thing, I think the most important thing that anyone can take, and you don't need a program or anything, right, to know this, it's the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak, is awareness. There's too much shoulding that people do on themselves. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I know I should be eating better, and I should be getting better sleep. And it doesn't, there's no progress. There's nothing, the cost is all cost and no benefit to that. But if you're aware, you get that, okay, that awareness of this is what I need to do. So then you ask another question, how am I going to do it? And what I love is the detox is so much of the time the answer. I'm like, well, let's start with the detox and then have you go from there. But awareness is so key. I'm aware that my blood sugar is high. I'm aware that, maybe I need to drop 10, 20 pounds. I'm aware my joints hurt. I'm aware I'm not sleeping well. I'm aware of all these different things. So then through that awareness, it gives you insight to what's the next step and where do you need to go. Or if it's for a client, that's also awareness, right? Geez, I'm aware that this person doesn't want to become a diabetic. So what can I have them do? And I just had that happen with somebody recently too. Diabetic or pre-diabetic, doctor wants them to start taking medication. They don't want to do it. Okay, cool. They asked me, what should I do? I said, try a detox, see what happens. Go back to their doctor. Their doctor's like, what'd you do? They did a detox, and they're like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I'm happy for you. Yeah, you don't need to take medication now. So the awareness factor to me is huge.
Yeah, no, awareness is so important. And this brings me to one of my my core beliefs. I believe after 27 years of my own personal health journey, I truly believe that no one deserves to suffer because of something they don't know exists. And I'm going to tell a short story here about PEMF therapy, because I found PEMF therapy 18, 19 years ago when I was suffering horrifically with Lyme disease and co-infections and parasites and all these things. And in one day, I tried this PEMF machine, and within 8 minutes, my entire life was changed. I was bouncing off the walls with energy. All my pain was gone. It was the most incredible thing. And at the time, I was in a Lyme disease support group with all these other people who were horrifically ill, like just debilitated, couldn't work for 5 years. And this one woman, she had been doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, like 3-4 days a week for 2 years, because that was one of the best treatments at the time. And she had pretty much burned through all of her money. It wasn't helping her. And she had done all these different things. And I had her come to my house and use my PEMF mat, because I told her, look, this did this amazing thing for me. She came to my house and used my PEMF mat. And within 2 minutes, she started to smile. And she said, this is the first time in 10 years that I have truly smiled, and I feel better already before even getting off the mat. Within an 8-minute period, her entire life was changed. She never went back to hyperbaric therapy. She started using this one tool, and it completely changed the game for her. But she didn't know it existed at that time. This was so new. So she kept coming to my house a couple days a week for, a couple weeks. And every time I saw her, she was getting better and better. And she was this world famous author who had literally just unbelievable human being. And her life had been stolen and destroyed by this Lyme disease and all the treatment she had to go through. And this one piece of healing technology changed absolutely everything for her. And this has allowed me to understand that and how important it is for people to know these things exist. They could suffer for years and years and change the game with one healing tool. And so if you know that these things exist and you understand and study how they can help people, you can completely change someone's life by putting them on a PEMF mat for 8 minutes. And that's what you're doing every day. I know you've told me stories about similar improvements for people from just laying on a mat. It's like, there's nothing easier you can do. Yeah, you can drink water. That's an easy one, but you can also just lay on a mat or put a mat over you while you're watching TV at night. Like, how easy can it get? Right. And so this is where, as health coaches, becoming aware of these healing technologies and how they can serve your clients and your community and help them achieve their transformation. It's just one of the best things I could ever recommend to anyone, is like trying these things for yourself and then being able to recommend them to others. And it's so cool to hear how you have been bringing this into your practice and how going through IHP and HPH has allowed you to try these things on yourself to lower and reverse your biological age, which is super cool, and bring this to your community. And yeah, it's just such a cool thing. And I hope more people do the same.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I love it. It's just such a next level epic thing that, when you can give, I always love asking people, like, how much would you pay for health? Like, your perfect health? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how much would you pay if you were in bad health? Like, what would you pay? 10,000, 20,000, 200,000, like whatever you could pay, like whatever your life savings. Yeah, of course, and so I love these approaches and all these different tools and techniques. And there's so many out there right now that are happening, and new ones coming out every day. So it's just amazing to see the impact that all this is having and how it's creating more of a shift, with integrative health coaches and the technologies and tools we're using with, improving our community and the people we serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just want to thank you so much for joining us again. We are so happy to have had you back. And I think
my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, this opens people's minds to bringing in new types of technology to help support their clients, to help, support themselves in their healing journey. Because I talk to plenty of health coaches who are still struggling themselves. And sometimes it's something you're not aware of that can totally change the game for you. And I think, you're such a great resource. So if someone wants to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can go on the mwafitness.com is our website here. And I also have my Instagram, which is markanderson_MWA. But those are the two primary spots where they can look me up and direct message or whatever. But, those are the communities and the outreach we have. And, I say to anyone, if you join our community, that's amazing. Obviously, we'd love to have you, but joining any community that's, looking at this health and wellness approach that looks to serve and grow together as a community, like the IHP, HPH, all this, it's just such an amazing thing to have as a resource. I think that's the biggest resource, actually. It's just having the community, because through the community, you can literally gain so much information and knowledge that you just wouldn't be able to get from just one coach or one person, So I just think it's such a beautiful thing to have all this, and to be where we are at this time and place in the world in this moment. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely. And if anyone here is interested in learning more about Integrative Health Practitioner or the High Performance Health Program, go to integrativehealthpractitioner.org. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone listening and tuning in. Make sure to subscribe on any podcast platform or on YouTube. And I will see you next week.